Welcome to the Astrology Show with your host, Kelly Fox. Each week, Kelly will give you access to the current transits that are a valuable tool which provide astrological information to help unlock the potential each of us has through our sun sign. Understanding the current planetary influences each week can help steer us in the right direction to make better informed choices. Sometimes events in your life may seem completely random, but there is a pattern to the order of these events, one set in motion in part by you and in part by the planets and stars in the sky and their influence on your life here on Earth. So if you're wondering what's going to happen in your week ahead, if you're going to get that promotion, move to a new city, or fall in love, tune in to the Astrology Show for guidance. It can help you anticipate problems before they occur, give you tools to cope with changes, and help you look forward to the wonderful days ahead. Kelly Fox is a professional astrologer and internet pioneer who launched astrology.com, one of the first and most successful astrology websites. Today, her passion lies with her new site, theastrologer.com, where she brings a modern-day approach to an ancient wisdom. Please join Kelly each week to learn more about how the planets can align for you.
Hi there, and welcome to the Astrology Show. I'm your host and astrologer, Kelly Fox. On this show, I'm going to be talking about the planets this week. And what do the planets have in store for us this week? Well, the headline of the week is we have a new moon in Sagittarius. That's tomorrow. And the other news of the week is communication planet Mercury will be moving into Capricorn on Friday, where it will stay for an extended period of time. And the reason being, and I'm smiling, but I'm not really smiling, is because it will be turning retrograde on December 19th. Look out, everybody. We've got another Mercury retrograde period and right in time for the holidays. How about that? Mercury is not only the planet of communication, it is the planet of commerce. Uh-oh. So just as well, we've had the Black Friday, I couldn't even remember the name, Black Friday we've had, and Cyber Monday is all happening just in time to beat the Mercury retrograde period. But be warned, if you have any returns on anything that you've purchased, take care with that. But before I launch into Mercury and putting the fear into everybody about the retrograde, let's talk about the new moon in Sagittarius, which is very exciting and something that most of us should be looking forward to. It's a time when we will be craving excitement. And the new moon in Sagittarius occurs tomorrow, Tuesday the 28th. No, today's the 28th. Wait, did I get my days wrong? It occurs tomorrow, the 29th, Tuesday the 29th, new moon in Sagittarius, 7 degrees Sagittarius. So if you're a bit of a nerd and you want to know the degree of the new moon, it is 7, nearly 8 degrees Sagittarius. So if you have anything in your chart that is in Sagittarius around the 7 or 8 degree mark, this is a pivotal time for you to start new beginnings. Now, a new moon presents an opportune time for new starts and new beginnings. Depending on what sign it's in, that's the area of life where the new beginnings happen. And as I always do, I will run through how this new moon in Sagittarius will be affecting your sign and what area of your life would be great for a new beginning. So it's making the most of these planetary energies. This is what My show, the astrology show, is all about how to make the most of these planetary energies each week. So the new moon, I'll take a step back and explain what the new moon is. It's the very beginning of the lunar cycle, and it's the start of a new beginning, which we have every 28 days. And every 28 days, we have a new moon. And if you look up in the sky, you won't see any moon at all. So with a new moon, you cannot see the moon at all. The sky is typically black, of course, with stars. And so the cycle, in 2 weeks' time, you will look up and the moon will be full. You'll see the whole moon. And so from the new moon to the full moon, we call that period waxing. And then you'll be able to see in a couple of days, probably 2 or 3 days' time, the crescent moon, and the moon starts to become white. And here in the Northern Hemisphere on the right-hand side, you can start to see a slither of the moon as it begins to get full. This time in a week, it will be the first quarter moon. So a quarter of the moon, actually half of the moon will be filled in. And then in 2 weeks' time, we will have the full moon on December 13th. The full moon will be in Gemini. And, of course, a full moon means the sun and moon are opposite each other with the earth in the middle. When we have a new moon, it means the sun and moon are next to each other, facing the earth. So with the new moon, the start of the new cycle, there may be a feeling or a desire brewing within us for some sort of change. So new moons are all about change, new beginnings, starting of a new cycle. Now the period just before the new moon, the last phase of the moon, is called the balsamic period. So we've just sort of moved out of that balsamic period and into the new moon phase. But the balsamic period of yesterday or early this morning represents a time for wrapping things up. And definitely not a time to start anything new during this balsamic phase, which I'm just looking in my calendar here, which occurred on the weekend. So Saturday and Sunday, when the moon was in Scorpio, the sign before Sagittarius, and the Sagittarius new moon, was a time for endings and not beginnings. The beginning period started this afternoon. We build up into the new moon, which occurs exactly tomorrow morning at 4:15 a.m. Pacific time and 7:15 a.m. Eastern time is the exact time of the new moon. Also, it's a great time for manifestation. It's the start of a new cycle, new beginnings. If we meditate on what we want, what we're hoping for with this, particularly and through the next new moon, which will be December 28th, will be the start of the new cycle at that time. So for right now, with our Sagittarius new moon, it's a great time for planting seeds and for birthing new ideas and starting afresh. And creatively speaking, inspiration can be residing somewhere just beneath the surface, barely breaking into conscious thought. So if we think about the moon and what that looks like, it's a dark sky. And then in a couple of days, we'll start to see a sliver of light on the right side of the moon, and that represents our ideas, the starting of a new beginning, starting to come forth. So now is a good time with the new moon to really to meditate and to manifest and to really think about what we want and start planting seeds for what we are hoping for. This is a great time, the ending and beginning, between the ending and the beginning, to listen to our dreams that inspire our ideas. This is a great time to pay attention to our intuition because the moon rules our subconscious mind. So this is a wonderful time when we're in a new moon or when we have a full moon to pay attention to our dreams and our subconscious mind and to our intuition. On that note, we're going to take a short break, and after the break, I will continue with this week's planetary energy, so stay tuned.
Conscious media for conscious minds. OMTimes.
The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Have you been searching for a perspective beyond the mainstream? Check it out. Join your hosts Yelito Pascual and Diana Gold Holland on Share International Radio for thought-provoking views behind the news, Sundays at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio. You can also find us at shareontheairradio.org. This may be the message of hope you've been waiting for.
Hi, this is John Ondrasik of Five for Fighting, here for RAD, the entertainment industry's voice for road safety. You know, style is a personal thing, and your lifestyle is your business. But if you take it on the road, it becomes everybody's business. So please, plan ahead, designate before you celebrate. Friends, don't let friends drive drunk.
A public service announcement brought to you by RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Hi there, welcome back to the Astrology Show. I'm your host and astrologer, Kelly Fox, talking about the new moon in Sagittarius. It's happening tomorrow at 7 degrees Sagittarius, early tomorrow morning. We're having a new moon in Sagittarius, and this is a wonderful time to quit a bad habit, to start something new. As I always say with new moons, you can't have a new beginning until you have an ending. So if you want to move forward with something, you have to make sure that everything else is wrapped up, that you don't leave things open-ended and move on to the next thing. It's important to finish something before starting something else. And that's some astrological wisdom, and it sounds a lot like someone's mother's voice in their ear, but it's not really. Well, it is and it isn't. Anyway, so the new moon in Sagittarius is a great time to open yourself up to possibilities, putting that first seedling into the ground and see what arises. Now, because this new moon is in Sagittarius, what can happen here, boredom might be an issue that many of us have our fingers tapping restlessly. So what are we going to do about that? Well, there are many ways we can distract ourselves. And how about a road trip? How about some travel? I can hear some people thinking, oh dear, I've just travelled for Thanksgiving and she's telling me to travel again. Not travel for obligation, but more out of a sense of wonderment and exploration and adventure. So this is the time to think about opening and expanding your horizons and doing something that sounds exciting and doing something for you. Instead of doing it for the family or doing it because it's the holiday period, if you have a few days off between now and the next new moon, which is December 28th, this is a wonderful time to do something adventurous. We're in the season of Sagittarius, and the new moon is just one planetary influence that highlights the season. Being adventurous and doing something for yourself. How about bungee jumping? I'm laughing because that's something I would never do. Not nowadays anyway. Maybe previously in my young and reckless days, but not today. Anyway, there's a lot of possibilities for adventure. But pick something that's not only physically active, because Sagittarius is a physically active sign, it's a fire sign, but pick something that offers you a learning experience as well, because Sagittarius is a philosopher. Sagittarius is the sign that likes to learn a lot and is very open-minded, philosophical, and spiritual in some ways, and introspective and optimistic. So if you can think of some options outside of your normal routine, even if it means something as simple as taking a different route home from work, then do it. It sounds silly and trivial, but you might learn something on the way that you might not have expected. This is also a time for brainstorming and coming up with new thinking outside of the box ideas, because Sagittarius likes to look at life from a higher perspective. Also, figure out how you can add a little bit of spice in various areas of your life to keep you from getting bored and the doldrums. And if physical limitations is what keeping you from ranging too far, then look at ways to travel mentally. Workshops, seminars, classes, that can usually do the trick to satisfy the mind. Anyone that has any Sagittarian influences, those type of things, will keep you on the go. So it doesn't have to be anything physically active, but mentally active. Both is ideal, but we can't always have what we want at the time we want it. Even picking up a good book, which I don't see a lot of people doing so much anymore. As long as we're keeping our brain satisfied under this Sagittarius new moon, we won't go wrong. And if you do crave more adventurous fare, remember to weigh the pros and cons before leaping into action. As I said, Sagittarius is a fire sign and will sometimes leap before they look and dive straight in out of enthusiasm, of course, but sometimes it's not always a good idea. So detail, I know it's a drag. Details are a big drag sometimes, but details will be really important at this time. As I said, Sagittarius is the sign of the big picture. And so details can be really tedious and sort of hold things up, but it is important. And so more on Sagittarius and more because we're in the season of Sagittarius, and tomorrow we have a new moon in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is symbolized by the archer, and the sign of the archer or the centaur is somebody shooting arrows to a point of where they're going for. Usually it's a point on the horizon. But Sagittarius is the truth seeker of the zodiac. And so this is how Sagittarians, if you know of any, you might be one, have one in your life. This is how Sagittarius operates in life, usually striking out into the unknown with a far-reaching, idealistic vision of the possibilities. How awesome is that? So, as I said, Sagittarius is a sign of the philosopher. So it's looking at life from a higher point of view, a higher perspective. So at this time with the new moon, new beginnings, it might be let's look at our lives from a different point of view. Instead of the same old, now is the time to shake up our routine a little bit and see what happens. Of course, we're at the end of the year, we're in holiday season. Routine does tend to change at this time. People take time off from their usual routine, spend time with family, travel, but mainly out of obligation. Try and do something for yourself. Try and do something that's just for you, that's an adventure of your own. And as I said, it doesn't have to be physical, mental, taking a class, a course, learning something different, something that you've always wanted to try. This is a great time of year for it. And coming up to the holiday season, after that, when we move into January, and I'm not going to dive too deep into that now, but January we have a lot of intense astrological influences going on, particularly around the full moon, January 12th. It's part of a grand cross or a grand square. And so usually there's going to be, when there's a grand cross, grand square, especially with a full moon involvement, it's going to be really intense. So my advice to you would be do something for yourself at this time. See out 2016 with something that you want to do, something that you prefer rather than what you're obligated to do. Holiday period is very much about spending time with family, which is great, but it's important to do something for yourself at this time. With the influence of Sagittarius and the Sagittarius new moon tomorrow, we're in the season of Sagittarius. Sagittarius is also a sign known as a lifelong student and teacher. As I said, adventurer and explorer. Getting out into the world and experiencing everything and everyone in it. That sounds like a lot of fun if you're an extrovert. So how will this new moon in Sagittarius be affecting your sign, and which area of your life should the new beginnings occur? Well, if you're an Aries, this is about travel for you, anything to do with legalities or publishing or faraway places. If you're a Taurus, this is the time to think about money, shared what you share with others. If you're a Gemini, this new moon in Sagittarius can start or bring you brand new beginnings in your relationships. If you're a Cancer, this is a great time to think about your health. I want to say diet and fitness, but this time of year, I'm not so sure. If you're a Leo, romance, courtship, having a good time. If you're a Virgo, this is a great time. New beginnings around home, family. If you want to do some renovations, it's a great time for that. If you're a Libra, this is about intellect, thought, even taking short trips. If you're a Scorpio, it's about money, what you earn, and saving money. And if you're a Sagittarius, new moon in Sagittarius in your own sign, it's a wonderful time to change up your appearance, update your wardrobe, get a haircut, type of thing. If you are a Capricorn, this is really important for you to focus on the subconscious or listen to your intuition at this time. Very, very important to pay attention to your dreams. If you're an Aquarian, this is a wonderful time with the Sagittarius new moon to spend time with friends and acquaintances. Join a group or a club, online, offline, but it's important for you to connect with like-minded people, which is usually your MO anyway, but more so at this time. And finally, if you're a Pisces, a sweet Pisces, this is a time for you. This is the season to think about your career and your status and where you fit in the community. What you are normally a sign that is a carer, a helper, the time to put those skills and talents to use and think about your career and where you're headed. So we are in the middle of the Sagittarius season, And so this is a time to think about life from a higher perspective. Sagittarius also rules not just spirituality, because that's also Pisces, but it's definitely a time to think about what we believe in, our beliefs, our values, what's important to us. And, recently, the past few weeks with change happening on the political front in the US, people really are thinking about their values and their beliefs and holding on to those opinions very strongly. That's very Sagittarian. Sagittarius, or the influence of Sagittarius, can be quite fanatical. We're going to take a short break, and after the break, I will continue with this week's planetary energies, so stay tuned.
The Real Conscious Connection. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Spiritual, metaphysical, green living, psychic, alternative healing, life coaching. Do any of these or similar terms apply to your business or cause? If so, you are in a niche market with a very specific audience. Conscious Gate PR is the world's leading conscious public relations agency. With a global reach of over 4 million and growing, we offer comprehensive media campaigns to our targeted market. Learn more at ConsciousGatesPR.com. Conscious marketing for conscious minds.
Join Vibe Nation radio host, international psychic medium Carrie Turcotte, as she guides her listeners to rediscover themselves by accessing the keys of knowledge that already exist within. Each week's show is divinely orchestrated to intertwine with the universal energies, allowing the listeners to go deeper within. At the end of each show, Carrie will tap into the energies of the listeners and give a message from Spirit about the upcoming week. If you really want to get to know who you truly are, join Carrie each Monday at 3 p.m. on Vibe Nation Radio.
This is a test to find out if you know it all when it comes to children. Name one of the leading killers of U.S. children age 1 to 13. What's the best way to protect children in a car crash? At what age and size should a child start using a booster seat?
Don't assume you know it all when it comes to car seats for your child. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat and know for sure. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi there, welcome back to the Astrology Show. I'm your host and astrologer, Kelly Fox, talking about the planets this week. And the big news of the week is the new moon in Sagittarius tomorrow. And also we have communication planet Mercury moving into Capricorn, where it will have an extended stay due to the retrograde motion. Mercury will be turning retrograde on December 19th. I will cover that in just a moment. But now let's take a look at the other planetary energies of the week. So tomorrow there weren't any major planetary aspects on Sunday. We had some moon aspects, which I don't typically cover because the moon, when it makes an aspect to another planet, is so fleeting that it's really not noticeable, and there are so many aspects that happen so often. I discuss only the sun aspects and all the other planetary aspects and the lunations. So Sunday, there were a couple of smaller moon aspects. Today, no aspects, which is sort of unusual to not have any planetary aspects. I usually like to say that gives us a reprieve. And then tomorrow, Tuesday, we have the new moon in Sagittarius, some moon aspects, and also what's occurring is Venus, love planet Venus, forms a square to Uranus. And this could be an issue for the cardinal signs, and the cardinal signs are Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. And I feel like, lately, and this isn't over yet for the cardinal signs, the build-up is through January, but there's a lot of tough astrological aspects for the cardinal signs. So I'm not singling you guys out. That's just the way it is at this time. Every sign has a turn. Every group of signs has a turn. It just happens to be the cardinal signs that are having their extended turn at this time. So Venus, at the moment, Venus is currently in Capricorn, and it's forming a square, which is a challenging aspect to Uranus, and Uranus is in Aries. So this influence, when Venus forms a square to Uranus, a change in routine is a good way to ward off the potentially disruptive and unstable energy that this transit brings. So it's interesting timing tomorrow with the new moon, which is all about changes. And so anything that involves Uranus is about change. Typically when it's with a harder aspect to any other planet, and that's a square or an opposition, it's usually forced change. But because it's Venus, it's not as tough as what it could be with another planet. So the way to deal with this energy of Venus forming a square to Uranus is maybe try wearing something totally different than usual this week or tomorrow in particular. And then maybe gleefully observe others' reactions in a detached way, since who cares what they think anyway. Maybe even taking, as I said before, taking a different route to work or trying a new restaurant. And maybe also with this influence, concentration might be difficult because we're distracted. There's a lot of distractions going on. Anytime Uranus is involved, it's something unexpected or surprising or distracting. So distraction is another thing that could occur with this influence. Maybe unexpected bursts of insight and energy might leave us a little bit rattled. There could be a lot of hyperactivity or hyper energy with this influence. And also at this time, it's not such a great day, particularly tomorrow when this influence occurs, for negotiations or any sort of conflict resolution. This is actually not a good day for that type of thing when Venus squares Uranus. It's the opposite type of energy. People will be feeling willful and unyielding just because they want to. And it's just sort of like expect unexpected behavior, I guess, is one way to put it. People are not in the mood to compromise under this influence or cooperate. And romance is equally dicey. It might feel like no one seems to appreciate our quirky ways of showing affection. So take care with that. So just be careful if you want to try something different tomorrow. Change is in the air, particularly with the new moon, but try not to be too radical because you might not get the reception you had hoped for, and that's especially if you are a cardinal sign, and that's Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. On Wednesday, we have the Sun forming a square to Neptune, and that's tough for the mutable signs in particular, and the mutable signs are Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. So when the Sun forms a square to Neptune, we're confused, there's misunderstandings, and there might be a vague feeling of dissatisfaction, maybe even some spiritual angst that pervades the astrological atmosphere at this time. Maybe energy and motivation for the everyday work world are at a low ebb, and mental tasks might leave us feeling challenged and confused. And particularly because we're in the season of Sagittarius, the new moon in Sagittarius tomorrow, is all about the big picture and not so much we're thinking about detail. Now, this only adds to the issue here with detail because Sun squaring Neptune is the opposite of detail. So some of us might kick and scream in protest, but the energy just isn't there. Like, it's really important that we don't overlook detail at this time. It might even be easier to succumb to sullen silence or try to escape the real world temporarily by whatever means are close at hand and easily accomplished. So in other words, if you've going to have a tough day sometime this week, it's probably better to not drown your sorrows. It might be better to try and meditate instead, or try and do something a little bit more high road, more along the spiritual path, rather than going down a rabbit hole with something that might make us feel worse. Some of us, our skin might just be a little bit too thin at this time, so our feelings might be easily hurt. So be careful during this Sun square Neptune period on Wednesday, because many of us will be like sponges, absorbing energy from places we don't even know where. So be very careful. Think about protecting yourself energetically this week. It's very important because we will be very like open books, picking things up. So the energies could be positive or negative. It's like at this time we can't indiscriminate. It's like we're just taking everything in. So we're better off waiting to make any important moves or decisions instead of using this time to lay low. So at this time, if you can, have a relaxing week if it's possible. It's important to have some downtime to make use of this Sun square Neptune energy. On Thursday, we have Mars forming a trine to Jupiter. So that's good news. And it brings some energy back when Mars forms a trine to Jupiter. Mars is in Aquarius and Jupiter in Libra. So this is great news for the air signs. And the air signs are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. So this is very good news. If you're an air sign, there's going to be a lot of energy, a lot of fun, abundant physical energy, basically is the hallmark of this influence. Comes about once a year and lasts a week or so. It is exact on Thursday. Some of us, as I said, particularly the air signs, even though I said the energy might be low on Wednesday because of the Sun squaring Neptune, the next day Mars trining Jupiter. Some of us might be leaping out of bed, raring to go. It's a good idea to get the workout done first thing in the morning, actually both as an outlet and as a regulator of this heightened energy. And so the good feeling of this energy will transpire throughout the day. There's a lot of good cheer and enthusiasm about work, and it's infectious. This is great. We can see the big picture, which is also tied into the Sagittarius new moon. And, there's the small stuff there as well. We can see how everything fits together from an intellectual point of view. It's a great time for innovation because Mars is in Aquarius. It's an excellent time for any new business venture or transaction, particularly if you wait till after the not so great influence that we've had, that we will be having on Tuesday, which is the Venus square Uranus. If you can wait till after that, it is a good time for negotiations and transactions because we'll be feeling principled and optimistic about our endeavours. And as I said, Sagittarius new moon tomorrow, and the ruling planet of Sagittarius is Jupiter, forming a trine to Mars on Thursday. That's wonderful to get stuff done. And also Jupiter being the planet of luck, this is a great time to put things into motion on Thursday when Mars trines Jupiter. Many of us will have energy to spare. It's also a great time to engage in vigorous athletics or sports of any type. Any sort of extreme sport, the better. So they are the influences for the week. I'm going to save Mercury in Capricorn until after the break because that is going to be one you want to tune into. So we're going to take a short break and stay tuned.
Feed your soul with Waves of Consciousness on OMTimes Radio. OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Have you bought into the idea that you have to work hard for your money, that business is hard? I will share some dynamic access consciousness tools to get you out of your own way so you can create a business that actually succeeds. Join me, Simone Millicers, on The Joy of Business at 4 p.m. Mondays Eastern.
Welcome back to the Dog Show. Up next we have Satchmo. Satchmo is a member of the Shelter Pet Group.
That's right, a group known especially for their couch-snuggling, ball-chasing, face-licking, and, of course, companionship. Now, let's see him in action.
Look how he makes eye contact with his person.
That's actually known as the treat stare.
How intuitive, and now he appears to be excitedly turning in circles.
Ah, the happy dance will come in with this group.
But really, the best way to know an amazing shelter pet like Satchmo is to meet one.
Visit theshelterpetproject.org today. Adopt.
Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Hi there, welcome back to the Astrology Show. I'm your host and astrologer, Kelly Fox, talking about the planetary influences of the week. So we're having a Sagittarius new moon on Tuesday, and the other headline of the week is Communication Mercury moves into Capricorn on Friday the 2nd. Mercury will move into Capricorn, where it will stay until January 4th. Now, this is a really long period of time. Mercury usually only stays in a sign for about 21 days. Now, the reason why it's going to be spending so much more time in Capricorn is on the 19th of December, it will be turning retrograde. So what happens is, it will be turning retrograde, so it starts to move backwards. It doesn't technically move backwards. It appears to move backwards on the 19th, right through to January the 8th. And then it will, let me look at my calendar, explain this a bit better. So Mercury moves into Capricorn on this Friday, and then it will continue in Capricorn until the 19th when it starts moving backwards. It will still be in Capricorn at that time, and it keeps moving backwards through Capricorn until January 4th, that it moves backwards into Sagittarius, and it continues moving backwards through Sagittarius until we get to January 12th, and then it moves forwards in Capricorn, although it starts moving forward January 8th in Sagittarius. I don't know if that made any sense at all, but basically it's going to be in Capricorn for a really long period of time. And I was just a bit distracted because I'm looking for when it moves back into Capricorn in January on the 12th, and that is the day of the full moon, January 12th, and that is definitely a time period to look out for. The full moon, January 12th, is part of a grand square or a grand cross. And I want to say that spells trouble, but that seems too basic for what it really is. There's about 10 challenging aspects involved with this cardinal square or cardinal cross in January on the 12th. And I was just noticing that's when Mercury moves back into Capricorn after its retrograde period through Capricorn and through Sagittarius. Through the holiday period, yay! And Mercury is a planet of communication, but it's also the planet of commerce. I do not want to be the voice of doom and gloom, but if you're looking to buy any sort of holiday presents for anybody, get them early. Yeah, that's my words. They are my words of wisdom. So Mercury is the planet of communication. And you may have heard of Mercury retrograde, which happens when Mercury seems to be moving backwards in its path through the heavens. And it depends how the retrograde affects your chart. And it happens in all different ways at all different times to all different people. So it's never the same, but it usually does wreak havoc. So under the influence of Mercury in Capricorn, as I just said, depending on how this transit affects your natal chart, your thinking could become more methodical and pragmatic. Now, this is just Mercury in Capricorn. This has nothing to do with the retrograde. I will cover that the week that we're having the retrograde. This is just a forewarned is forearmed type of thing. So on Friday, Mercury moves into Capricorn. So many of us will be thinking more methodically, more pragmatically. We might take a more of a systematic approach to planning and decision-making, which is always a good idea. Breaking an idea down into smaller parts in order to organise our thoughts in a workable way. So far, so good. This is an ideal transit for clarifying our long-term goals and figuring out practical steps to get there. Also with Mercury in Capricorn, our thinking could be more cautious, and we're unlikely to sign on to any ideas or opinions that haven't been tested and proven to our satisfaction. Now, this is a great balance because we're in the season of Sagittarius. Sagittarius likes to leap into something without much thought, but Mercury in Capricorn will slow us down and give us more of a balance. So our business sense at this time is strong, and we've got good organisational and administrative skills when Mercury is in Capricorn. This is a good time for analysing systems and structures as well, and increasing our functionality and productivity. So how will this energy affect your sign? If you're an Aries, it's about your career. If you're a Taurus, it's about publishing or legalities. If you're a Gemini, it's about money. Cancer, it's about relationships. So this is a good time to have discussions about relationships, those hard discussions. If you're a Leo, focus on your health, diet and fitness. A Virgo, this is about romance and having a good time. Libra, home and family. Scorpio, this is a time to speak your mind. I don't know when. You don't typically do that. If you're a Sagittarius, this is about money. And Capricorn, this is about you. The spotlight will be on you, so speak up. If you're an Aquarius, this is about the subconscious mind and dreams. And if you're a Pisces, friends and groups will be important to you at this time. Now for your weekly horoscope, which will sum up all the planetary influences that are going on this week. So for your weekly horoscope, if you're an Aries, set some positive goals and begin to move forward. It's important that you take concrete action now instead of just daydreaming and making vague promises. Hold yourself accountable with a real action plan. Others are relying on you. And Aries, you are known as a leader, so it is important that you do what you say at this time. If you're a Taurus, your resourcefulness is admirable, but you may face criticism from friends and even family. People don't understand your determination to make the situation work. Ignore the naysayers and continue to tread your path. You're on your way up. And Taurus is always a person with a long-term plan. If you're a Gemini, career issues may come between you and your partner, perhaps with work pressures adding to an already fractious relationship. This can be healed through frank conversations about what you each want from one another. Don't hold back. And as I said, Mercury in Capricorn will help facilitate these conversations and maybe put emotions aside and think rationally. If you're a Cancer, temptation is everywhere. Your effort to turn over a new leaf this week with the new moon may be thwarted as your willpower is waning. Don't give up. Even if you don't start a new and healthy habit today, there's always tomorrow and the day after that. So in other words, don't be too hard on yourself. If you're a Leo, someone is not being truthful. A pleasant week could be marred by someone's underhand behavior or outright deception. The best solution is to mind your own business and to not pay attention to gossip or to the plans and schemes of others. If you're a Virgo, family interference in your relationship or personal affairs is not welcome and could prove burdensome. Team up with your partner to rebuff in-laws or siblings who try to come between you. It's none of anyone else's business but yours. If you're a Libra, get super organized now by clearing out clutter and tidying your desk. Rethink your schedule so that you can fit more into your day. There is a lot to be done and it could be exhausting, but your stamina is improving. Keep at it and the rewards will come. That's heartening. If you're a Scorpio, good financial news is on the way, but an urge to spend recklessly or to gamble could undo all that positivity. Avoid making any major financial decisions in haste. Insist upon more time and seek expert advice before taking action. It's always great advice. If you're a Sagittarius, you feel on top of your game with the new moon in your sign, but disapproval from family members is dampening your spirits. Ignore them. Forge ahead with your own plans because it's your life and nobody else's. If you're a Capricorn, you are picking up a lot of psychic insights this week and your intuition is exceptionally strong too. Others may find your levels of perception quite scary. Keep a lookout for the many signs and signals from the cosmos. I love that. I love those signs and signals. If you're an Aquarius, you'd love to party this week, but finances curtail your leisure time. Look for inexpensive ways to have fun instead and involve friends and family members in joint activities as much as possible. Laughter and good times don't have to be expensive. And finally, if you are a sweet Pisces, good career news is terrific, but a sudden lack of confidence causes self-doubt. Stop second-guessing yourself. You can do whatever you set your mind to. Seek reassurance from your lover and your family who can highlight your many strengths and abilities. And as I said before, Pisces, you are the carer and the carer of the zodiac, one of the most compassionate signs of all. And you have many, many strengths and abilities. And the world would not be a good place without you. So that's the planetary overview for this week. And the highlight of the week is the new moon in Sagittarius. And Mercury moving into Capricorn on Friday, where it will spend an extended period of time. If you want to know more, have more information about astrology, visit me at theastrologer.com. That's it for this show. Enjoy your week and tune in next week to find out next week's planetary overviews. I'm your host and astrologer, Kelly Fox. Thanks for joining me.